You know that's copywritten, right?
Could I get in trouble for that?
Yeah, you actually could.
Really?
Yeah.
For just humming that?
Dude, if there's a buck to be made, I'll find out.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be your buck.
Now I can hear you. Hello?
There you are. Wow. I was like, wow, where'd she go?
There you are. Hi.
Welcome back, Bobbie.
Thank you.
How the hell you been?
I've been pretty good. How about you?
I've been good. You're like, taking over the world.
Fun.
Before we even get into anything, I got to give you a standing applause and a double thumbs up and a hats off, because what you did, what I saw on XYs of Rock, when you got your advance money for this book, what you did for Athena was freaking incredible and showed the true person and the heart you have. And you should pat yourself on the back for me, because that was, seriously, no bullshit.
Thank you.
That was freaking incredible.
Okay, I'm going to do it. Thank you so much. That's so sweet. Thank you.
I was blown away. I mean, seriously.
Oh, that's sweet. Thank you so much.
Now, the second question I got to ask is, after you did that, did you by chance buy yourself a new car? Because when I see that friggin' Hyundai you drive, I cringe.
No, I know I didn't. But I'm buying one in January.
Okay.
One thing at a time.
All right. You got to get rid of that Hyundai. It kills me.
I know. Everybody keeps giving me crap about it.
That's too funny.
I know it's bad. I know it's awful, but I'm going to get rid of it.
The book is out. It's finally out.
Yeah.
Are you excited?
Yeah, totally excited.
Now, originally when we talked to you, you said it was coming out Christmas Eve, and now you guys moved it up a month. How come?
Yes, they did because my agent was like, that's kind of a crappy time to release the book. I mean, people can't really get it for Christmas, and they hadn't really thought about it. They were like, oh, I guess you're right. So they kind of pushed it ahead, and I thought this was much better timing.
Yeah, I mean, plus it's coming up on the season finale of the show and all, so it kind of all works in together real well.
Yeah, cross-pollinating.
Now, when you wrote the book, and a lot of people know this about me, and you'll know this now. I go to therapy because I need therapy because of the crazy life I've lived. Now,
right.
My therapist will always say to me, write your feelings down, write this down. It'll help you. It's therapeutic. Did you feel that way when you wrote your book? I mean, was it kind of like therapeutic for you to go through your life and all the good and bad you've done? And did it help you, like, really deal with a lot of things you'd lived through?
You know, it's funny you said that. Going into it, I didn't even contemplate it. But as a matter of fact, it absolutely did. It was very therapeutic. It opened up a lot of, things that I had suppressed for such a long time, and made me kind of, confront those things and have closure with them. So it ended up being very therapeutic after all. Now,
as you were writing this stuff, though, did you, prepare your daughter for all this stuff that you did, and, this is what's going to be coming out, and this is what I did, and this is what's going to be said, and the world's now going to know?
Yeah, I mean, there were some things that, she knows me and my personality, so she wasn't shocked by any means. But the parts about her and her dad, I ran by her first before I submitted to the publisher, just to make sure she was okay with everything, and she was, and gave me her full blessing. And then when she got the book, she said that she skipped over all the sex parts because that was something she really didn't really want to read, and that she skipped to the parts about her, and then she told me about all the typos.
Oh, too funny.
I know.
So wait, so your daughter picked out the typos, but the publisher didn't?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, I know. I was like, oh, okay. And it was too late by the time,
By the time they published it, no, it was too late.
Yeah, exactly. Is there a delay? A little bit?
It sounds like it sounds like there is a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
That's all right. All right. So, was there anything that you put in the book and you thought maybe to yourself, like, maybe I shouldn't write this?
Lots of things. Lots of things. A lot of things. Like, I second guessed quite a few things, and there were some things that I added, and they were like, oh, no, probably should take that out. Because, I couldn't really tell because it's my life, so I don't know what's, too much, for other people to hear or whatever. So, some things definitely I questioned.
So was there anything that you did keep out of the book that you're, like, keeping to yourself?
I used a couple things. A couple of things, yeah. Yeah. It was more for dignity basis,
Did you ever say to yourself at all as you're writing it, like, what the frig was I thinking through all this stuff?
When I was writing it or when I was experiencing it?
When you were writing.
When I was writing it?
Yeah.
Yes and no, because I would just tell my stories, and to Caroline, and we would go over it, and she just thought they were all so great, Like, I have, like, at least 2 or 3 more books of stories. We had to cut so many of them out, but, she always thought they were all great. So, I don't know. She kind of picked through them.
So does that mean there could be another book down the line?
I would like that. I would actually love to do that.
I mean, yeah, you probably have to be shocked with yourself, because did you ever think you'd be writing a book?
No, but 4 years ago, it was a great idea that I came up with, and I thought, I'm going to do this. I'm going to see this through. I just kept kind of saying that it was going to happen, and it finally did. So I guess I can be, the poster child for attesting to, if, you're a firm believer and you're what you can accomplish, then, it will happen.
So the book was all your idea then?
Oh, yeah. Totally. Like 4 years ago, I thought about writing it when I saw that I was mentioned in quite a few Roth books, and I read the stories, and I would think, oh, God, that's not really right, or that's not how that happened, or that should have served that person. And, I thought there's no woman's perspective or both sides to it, and I wanted to do it like a retort and a woman's, perspective. So that's
and you
why
wanted
I did
the truth to come out. You wanted to set the truth straight.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a few records out there, yeah. and it's kind of a comeback tale too,
Well, yeah. You've been doing that. And that was one of my questions actually for towards the end of the interview was, did you ever think to yourself that you would be more relevant today, 20 plus years later, than Warrant or even Motley Crue, or you know what I mean? Like, here you are.
I don't really know that I am, but thank you for saying so. But no, I would have never in a million years imagined it to be like this. But I'm super grateful,
Well, you got to figure it this way: you're on TV. You're on TV weekly. That's huge, right there.
Yeah.
Once you're keeping that going, so that's huge right there. Now you got a book out, so now you got the double whammy. So you got 2 things going for you.
Yeah, so grateful. I'm really, really happy.
So now when you were writing the book, when the word got out that Bobbie Brown's writing a book, there had to be a lot of people, when they knew what you were writing about, did anybody come to you and say, please don't put me in the book?
Yes. Yes.
You going to tell us who? Or?
There's some people in Tommy's camp and some people in Jay Gordon's camp and some people in, there's a few camps that came forward, some, politely, some not. But basically I just said, sorry,
Well,
it was my life too, so I can tell it.
Jay Gordon should be thanking you because, orgy was a thing of, 10 years ago? You know what I mean? Like, at least you're putting his name back out there.
Well, that's how I look at it. But some people don't appreciate me discussing, intimate details about them, regardless. But I just told him, you're not going to be insulted. You shouldn't be insulted. And he was just like, well, you're selling out. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I don't expect you to understand, but you're a big part of my life, so you're going in the book. Sorry.
Yeah, like, I guess if role was reversed and he was able to write a book, and, I mean, he would do the same thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, nobody asked me anything or gave me that option when they wrote about me.
Right.
So,
now,
sorry.
The whole thing with Tommy, it always makes me wonder, especially as I watch the show. Because, I mean, basically, you're right or wrong, your best friend is Athena.
Yeah.
Which is, if people don't know, Tommy's sister. So,
right.
I mean, does he, see the show? And, I mean, he's got to see you all the time. You guys got to run into each other at some point.
I have not run into him.
Really?
Mm-mm. He's not a fan of the show.
I always wondered that. Okay.
Yeah, he's not a fan of the show. He doesn't, that I'm aware of, talk crap about it, but he's not supportive.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, he tried to talk me and Athena out of it, doing it before we ever started it.
Now, I mean, I'll say this. I'm a big fan of Tommy's. And I love his music. Been a fan of his since I was a little kid, and he's done some reality shows that I say to myself, what the hell is he doing? So,
well, I mean, I just felt like it was kind of like, I think he was more afraid of our mouths. Like I think that he thought that the show would probably be about them or like our exes mostly because of the title. And I tried to explain to him that it wasn't about them at all. It was just the connection of how we know each other is the only thing about the show that is about them. And I think that he just, thought it was going to be something it wasn't.
Well, I haven't gotten the book yet. As a matter of fact, I was supposed to get an advance copy from what's is it Stephanie? I forget her name. But anyway.
Yeah, Stephanie.
Okay, well, I'm just going to go buy one because obviously I'm not getting one.
Oh, you haven't gotten it? I'm sorry.
That's all right. But I found some excerpts last night and I was going through them. And the whole thing with Tommy, it's like, wow. Like, it almost kind of mirrored what happened to Pam almost.
What do you mean?
Well, there was the situation where he's choking you.
Oh. Yeah, well, it wasn't a surprise, if that's what you mean. But I think he actually has come out of that. I think he's maybe taken some anger management or forced to take some anger management. I don't know. I mean, I think he's dealt with his issues. Plus, he's been sober for a few years, too, so.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yeah, so I think maybe he's got a better wrangle on his anger.
Gotcha. Now,
yeah, which is good.
And when you guys were together, now, and we said this before when we talked last time, after your marriage with Janie, you guys got divorced and everything, you ended up with Tommy. And I said to you before, I said, that was like going like from the, in the oven into the fire. I mean,
I guess so.
Yeah, I mean, you look at you and Janie, and I always pictured like the Cinderella hairband couple. That's what it seemed like.
Yeah.
And then you went to Tommy, and it was just like, uh-oh, here we go.
Right. Yeah, I guess that was the direction I was headed, right?
Yeah. Well, do you think what do you think was the bigger downfall in your life at that point which caused you on that downward spiral? Was it the breakup of you and Janie or the situation that happened with you and Tommy? God,
I think it was a combination of both things, but the complete, breakdown happened, after Tommy, of course, because, it was just a year later. And that's when it just kind of I just went crazy because, it was everywhere in my face and I couldn't escape it. And it was so humiliating and heart-wrenching and quick and unexpected that I didn't know how to deal with it.
And I'm trying to think at the excerpt I read last night where Pam literally came up. You guys were in a club or something, and she came up and introduced herself, and she was just totally going after him right in front of you.
Well, I don't think that it was going after him so aggressively, but the attention wasn't about me. That's for sure. But it wasn't overt to the point where I was appalled and taken aback. But I was okay, whatever. But I was a very confident person. I didn't feel competitive at all. I never saw that going anywhere. I just thought, oh, okay. I didn't think anything of it at the time. But, of course, looking back on it in retrospect, after everything happened, I was kind of oh, okay. I guess there was a premeditated plan possibly or not. I mean, it was kind of, it just kind of all the pieces went fitting into the puzzle that I hadn't foreseen,
Now, what do you think would have happened if Pam never walked into both of your lives at that time, if you and Tommy ended up staying together?
We were engaged to be married, so that was, I guess that was going to be the direction it was going in. But, I mean, I had already, we were already starting to have our problems because I was already starting to use drugs and, his controlling, anger issues was beginning to be a nuisance and a little bit over the top. And so it was kind of perfect timing. I mean, I got to a point where I prayed all the time for things to work out between he and I, and then I remember the day that I prayed instead for whatever to happen be the best for my daughter and myself, and then he got married 4 days later.
Wow.
So I felt like that was, even though it was devastating, I felt like that was a huge factor in, the way things happened.
I guess it was almost like a blessing in disguise in the long run.
Yes, exactly. And my mom would totally back that statement up 100%.
So your mom wasn't a fan?
Well, no, I mean, she liked him when we were together, but, of course, like any other mom, she started to see telltale signs. And then, of course, the way things happened in the end, she, of course, was not a fan.
Right. Now, how about Janie? Was she a fan of Janie's?
She liked Janie. She did like Janie.
Now, what do you think, there had to be something, I guess, that was really getting him depressed and to where he kept turning to the alcohol and the drugs and all. Do you think you have any idea what it was?
It was a few things. I mean, it was the change in the music of, glam to, grunge,
right.
Record sales, trust, stuff like that, issues that he hadn't dealt with that I was completely unaware of at the time. Then later on, his mother died. It was just one thing after the next, and it all kind of came to a head. And he's the kind of person that needed a lot of support, a strong support system in his, circle, and he oftentimes didn't have that.
Yeah, it's such a tough thing. I always say too, whenever the bands from that era, whenever they come around to the Philly area, I go out and see them or whatever. Back then they were playing arenas and it's 15,000-20,000 people, and now they're playing a club to maybe a couple hundred people. And I would go with my friend, and then afterwards I would turn to him and say, this is where back then it was the rock star dream, and it was all glitz and glamour, and now it's their job. This is what their job is. Yeah,
I saw that happen to many of my musician friends, and it was always something hard to watch because they were so confused and kind of felt like so misplaced in the world at that time, because the record industry is so fickle, and you're awesome one day and you're done the next, and they're just baffled by that.
Right.
That's a hard business. I would never tell somebody, yeah, go for it, get into that industry. It's it's really tough.
It's funny too because of course that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be Joe Rockstar, and then I went from trying to be a musician, and then I became a professional wrestler. And I was doing that, and I was a wrestler for 13 years, and then I look back now and I say to myself, I'm thankful I didn't make it bigger than what I did, because I probably would have ended up, God forbid, dead or something, because I wouldn't be able to handle either A, the success, or B, the unsuccess when you come down that ladder.
Yeah, it really screws with everybody's head. I mean, I honestly can say, and not many people stay on top. Not many people have longevity. And.
Right.
And that's the hardest part.
It's tough. It's really tough.
Yeah.
All right, so then we got the laundry list now. We're going to start rattling some names off.
Okay,
Leonardo
let me
DiCaprio.
put this out there. Let me put this out there first.
Okay.
So before you rattle off names, the majority of these people were not relationships, and most didn't fulfill their initiated destiny. It turned out being a nightmare or a one-man freak show, and that would be me. But it was an attempted hookup, most of these. So I'm pretty sure you're going to say. So go ahead.
The little disclaimer by Bobbie Brown.
Yeah.
All right, Leonardo DiCaprio. I read that as excerpt too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'll give a golf clap to Leo for being like Tommy Lee.
Okay.
Do you look back now? I mean, with the time you were with Leo, whatever, if it was a one night or the short thing that it was, he was 21?
A couple hours.
21.
Yeah.
Was 21 at the time?
19 or 20, something like that.
Yeah. Do you look back now and think to yourself, like, how the hell did that guy become one of the biggest names in Hollywood?
And this is why I'm wondering why everybody is focusing on the 2 pages of my book of this guy, like all over the place. I'm like, come on. I didn't realize it was that big of a deal.
Well, you got to figure, like, he's got to be one of the top 3 names, male acting names in Hollywood. I mean, you figure it's DiCaprio, Brad Pitt. You know what I mean?
I guess. I just never knew it would be that big of a deal. Like, he was just another story in my list of stories. Like, I wasn't all, ooh, this is going to be a great one. Like, I didn't even think about that.
That's
funny.
I mean,
maybe my publisher did, but I honestly, you know what I mean? I was like,
I'm
okay.
sure they were thankful when you brought that one out. They were like, yes.
Yeah, they didn't let me know that, but I mean, still, I'm like, oh God.
Mark McGrath from Sugar Ray.
We had a fling. I love Mark. He was so funny. He was a great guy to be around. He helped me come out of my doom.
He seems like a good dude.
He is, and he's funny. He should have been a stand-up comedian. I kid you not. He's probably the only guy in my whole life, aside from a few, that can seriously make me laugh so hard that I'm peeing my pants. And that's kind of hard to do.
How long were you with Mark for?
We weren't with each other. It was kind of like a fling, but we saw each other on and off for like a year.
Oh,
but
wow.
it wasn't like there was no title. It was always like, if we, hung out one night, we did, or you know what I mean?
It was booty calls.
Kind of, but I don't know. He was more he was more of a friend for sure. Like, it wasn't about sex. He could do no wrong in my eyes, so it was like, he made me laugh. That's all I cared about.
Now, here's one that really had me scratching my head.
Huh.
And I'm a fan of this guy. I think he's cool. A little weird. I read his book, so I know he had a lot of issues and demons and situations. Dave Navarro.
Yeah, I love Dave Navarro. He's awesome.
Yeah.
He's probably
okay.
like the wittiest, like funniest, fun. He's an awesome guy. He's super smart, super witty, very charming.
Now, the story that I read, let me see if I have this right. You showed up at his house, and he's screwing another girl?
Yeah.
And makes you wait and watch a video of him pleasuring himself.
Yeah.
Okay, I had that right.
Yeah.
How... There's something going on in Hollywood that's not going on in the rest of the country. You realize that, right?
Yeah, that was a little off-putting for me. I tried to play it cool, but I have to admit I was a little bit like, holy shit, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely one of the weirdest stories I ever heard.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. But his house was pretty crazy that year, so, you know.
Is that when he was deep into his... Yeah. It was when he was deep into his drug use then?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how deep because I don't know, his before that or after, but he was, we were all high. Yeah.
Now, I don't know if you put this person in the book or not, but we talked about him last time. Stevie Rochelle.
Not sure I don't remember if I did or not. I might have.
Yeah, I don't know if he did or not. As a matter of fact, he even was saying on his website he don't know if he was in the book or not. He didn't read it yet.
I don't know if I mean, I'm sure I told the story. I don't know if it actually went into the end. You don't understand how many times I had to go over the story, change the story, read the story, add 10,000 words. Like, you know what I mean? By the time the book was ready to be read for the final time, I was like, oh my gosh, is there a program I can do that it can read it to me? You know what I mean? Like, I was so like, so I don't know. I can't, like, offhand right now, I couldn't tell you.
Now, what happened with Kevin Costner? So you guys never hooked up?
No. Nope. He tried to go out with me, but this was definitely a one-man freak show epidemic with him.
He doesn't seem like your type, though.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't my type.
Now,
I mean, I gave him a chance, but he did not prove to be my type. No.
Now, another thing I saw was something about Steven Dorff coming up to you in a club or something.
That was hysterical. That was so funny. Yeah.
So I'm going to throw a couple names out there because I always hear about these guys who are like the major girl getters out in Hollywood, and see if you've had any run-ins with them. John Stamos.
I've met him a couple of times, but we haven't actually had a conversation more than a sentence.
Wow. Okay. How about Scott Baio?
I went out with him, I think once, right when I first moved out here, and we didn't really hit it off that well. I felt like he was very negative when we went out, but we later became friends, and we'd see each other out. We'd be like, "Hey, what's up?" Like, totally cool. But the whole dating vibe didn't work out.
It seems like he's like waiting at the airport for the girls to come in, or he used to be. He's married now, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you always hear the story. When I first got to Hollywood, I dated Scott Baio.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he was. He made his rounds, I think.
It's funny too because actually we're taping an interview tomorrow with his good friend Jason Hervey.
Oh yeah, I met Jason when I was pitching actually a reality show years ago, and he had just done Scott's show, and he called me in to meet with him.
Oh, okay, cool. That was a funny show.
Yeah, that was great. I love that show. It was really good. I was happy for him.
Yeah, I was too. And now he's doing like a kids show or something, like on Nickelodeon or something.
Oh, I don't know, but hey, you know what? So, whatever makes him happy.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
How about David Spade?
David Spade I did a commercial with, and he was really good friends with Kevin Costner, who was at that party that I first met Kevin at his house. And that was like the same day I did the commercial. David Spade was cool. He and I did, I think it was a Budweiser commercial.
Oh, wow.
Together, yeah.
That's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Now, looking over your list of past men, do you ever look at it and say to yourself, like, I think I need to, like, find a new type of guy?
You know, I did that, and then I went for a totally normal guy, and it was the worst thing ever. Worse than any rock star relationship I'd ever been with. So now I just give up on the fact that I have a bad picker, and I'm thinking that somebody's going to have to pick me.
Are you talking about the guy that was on the first season of XY's of Rock?
I'd rather not talk about him, but maybe.
Okay. Because I was just shaking my head with that whole situation. Like, do you not see like what's going on here? But anyway, we won't talk about it. I was pretty idiot. I was an idiot. So anyway, I don't want to give him any more time. Now, with the that was you did that video for that Cougar song.
Mhm.
Were you like excited to be back and doing a video, or?
I was a little self-conscious, but also excited that they asked, of course.
I mean, the song is just horrible. I hate to say it. The song is horrible. The video is great. I mean, if you watch it with the sound down, it's friggin' perfect.
Yeah, I'm not a big country fan, so, you know, and the title was a little off-putting, but, I wasn't going to reject it because of that. So I just went with it. I was a team player.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool, too, that Athena was in it. That also helped.
I brought her in.
Yeah,
I brought her in on it. Yeah.
So are you going to be doing a book tour for the book, or?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm waiting to hear about that. I don't know yet. That would be cool, but I mean, I think there has to be a demand for it. So I don't know. I guess it all depends on sales, and I'm not sure yet.
Well, we demand it. We're demanding the book tour.
That would be awesome, though. I would love to do that.
So, is there going to be a third season of XY's of Rock? Do you know yet, or?
I don't know. I don't know yet. We hope so.
Yeah, I mean, this season's been great. I mean, it's actually a lot better than the first season.
Yeah, I think so too. We have our fingers crossed. I think we're going to find out kind of soon this time, but we're really hoping for the best. And I think that it did really well this year. So, I personally don't see why we wouldn't, but I mean, you never know. But I have my fingers crossed.
Cool. Yeah, I think it should too. I mean, I definitely see like when the show's on, people are tweeting live and stuff like that. They're really into it a lot more this year than last year. I think it's a lot better show overall this year too.
I think so too. I think we play a big part in like interacting with our fans too, and I think that's important.
That's huge. I mean, every show is doing it now, and it shows that it's helping.
Yes, I totally agree.
It's cool too, even from a fan point of view, to be able to sit there and have interactions with you guys, or while the shows are going on, to be able to live tweet, and just that fan interaction is such a cool thing.
I think so too. I totally think so too. I did this little test on Twitter where I would go and check and see. There's a site called whotalking.com, and you can put your name in. It's called whotalking.com. And you can put your name in or the name of your show in or whatever, and you click, what type of forum you want to see, and it'll show you across, the web of whatever forum you choose, like, say, for example, Twitter. It'll show you every single person on Twitter who mentions your name or the show and what they're saying. So I would do that every day, and then I would go to all the people who would talk crap, and I would go to their comment, and I would just, reply, oh, really? Oh, wow, that's mean, or just whatever. And 90% of the time, I kid you not, just that one moment of me reaching out totally would turn them around. Like, oh my God, like blah, 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 something. It was only like 1% that were like, yeah, you suck and I hate you and I'm not going to watch your show anyway. Like, I'd be like, okay then, we're not for everybody. But literally just the fact that I reached out to them and just said anything, like, oh, that's not fair, or did you actually watch it, or blah, blah, whatever, and they totally turned it around.
That's funny. So it's you're like stalking the bad fans.
Totally. I totally do. I totally do.
Funny.
Which is bad. And they tell me not to engage, but I do. I seek them out.
But if it's doing good, if it works for you, why not?
Hey, I think it has worked. I think it has worked. I mean, there's a couple, like I said, that just refuse, but I mean, that's all right. Can't please everybody.
This is true. Now, it seems like this season, especially, like, you and Athena have been, like, the breakout stars this season.
Oh, thank you. Well, Athena can do no wrong, I'll tell you how much.
Yeah, I mean, she's freaking awesome. As a matter of fact, I tweeted her earlier to make sure she listens tonight because we're going to talk about her.
No, she is freaking awesome. She is freaking awesome. And she can do no wrong, but she's amazing, though. That's why.
It seems like the fighting is more this time around, and it's definitely like the two sides. It's you and Athena against Blue and Charisse.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to see fisticuffs on the one show a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, it was getting pretty Jerry Springer there for a second. I know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So you guys, you're not on this weekend, but next weekend it's back-to-back season finale episodes. Why'd they do that? Why did they, because you guys weren't on last weekend either, right?
I have no idea. No clue. Huh. That was a shock and surprise. I think it's because they started their Warped Roadies. I don't know. I don't really know, but yeah, this is what we ended up with.
Nice. So what are your future plans after all this now? Now that the book's out, season finale, season 2 is coming up.
I'm hoping for another season. I'm hoping for another book maybe. I'm hoping to do other stints, maybe other TV shows possibly. I don't know. I'm just trying to promote this for right now and see what comes from it,
Any chance of having maybe your own reality show?
Who knows? You never know. I mean, it's not being discussed currently, but, anything's possible. Anything's possible.
You never know. I'll tell you what.
You never know.
We went to a friend of ours. I don't know if you ever watched the show MasterChef. From this past season, they had one of the contestants on there. She does a show on our network now, and she lives like 20 minutes away from me. She's crazy. She's absolutely freaking crazy. Loudmouth, Philly Italian girl. Well, she filmed a pilot for her own reality show, and she invited me and my wife over there to be at the taping. It was such a weird thing because it's like the whole time I tell people, like, all right, reality, you're thinking it's reality where it's, you're going and all, but, I mean, it was totally like directing here and directing there and say this and talk about this. I was just like, this just kind of blew my whole perspective of the whole reality thing out of the water.
Our show's not like that. Our show's not like that at all. They don't tell us what to say or anything. And I think, but it has a lot to do with the fact that we've known each other for 20 years and we hang out outside of the show. So whatever we tell them that we're doing, basically they call and they ask us what our plans are, what does our month look like, what does our week look like. They decide what they want to film, and then everything kind of falls into place from there because we do hang out and outside of the show, it kind of falls into place,
Right.
So if a fight brews in the midst of all of that, then that's what happens, but. We've never been scripted. They never tell us what to say or, how to act or what to be or anything. So that's genuine,
Yeah, I mean, you would be able to tell, like, if you guys were scripted, I mean, especially when the fighting's going on, because you would have to be such a damn good actor for it to be so real and especially as intense as it got, a few weeks ago. I mean,
yeah,
you should be getting Academy Awards. You know what I mean?
No, we're not acting. That's for sure. That's for sure. Definitely not.
Nice. All right, so everybody can go to Amazon.com and get the book?
You can pretty much get it anywhere, like Barnes & Noble's, Amazon, Simon Schuster page. You can get it, Books A Million, Kmart, Walmart. Like, it's everywhere.
It's in Kmart and Walmart?
Yeah, it's everywhere. Target,
Really?
like, everywhere. Yeah.
Oh, that's too funny.
Yeah, it's everywhere. But, I think the easiest way to get it would be Amazon. Or Simon & Schuster, of course.
Yeah, Amazon's taking over the world. Did you see they're going to have drones now fly to people's houses and drop off the books?
What are you talking about? No.
Yeah, it was on the news the other day. They have designed little helicopter drones that will have it'll get the package and it'll program it with a GPS to fly to your house and leave the package on your front step and then fly
Shut
away.
up.
It was on the news the other day. Swear to God.
That scares me. Oh my God.
Yeah.
No way. That's so weird.
Yeah. So I guess you gotta watch you don't have your dog outside so the books or whatever don't get dropped onto the dog. Or, you know what I mean?
That sounds so scary.
It does. But no, seriously.
It does.
Google it because they were showing it on the news yesterday or the day before. Amazon drones.
I will.
It's coming. It's coming. Be prepared.
Okay. Oh my God.
Well,
okay.
I guess the last thing I got is a bone to pick with you, real quick, before I let you go.
Okay.
You have your Facebook pages, and you had 3 personal Facebook pages.
Not anymore.
And not anymore. Thankfully, somebody must have said something to you because you kept adding pages. And I was saying to myself, what is she doing? Why don't she just have a fan page, which you have now?
I'm retarded. That's the last one on the bus. I didn't even know about that. I thought it was all difficult to do, so I just didn't try figuring it out. And then my agents all would you just really just do it? It's super easy. And I was like, okay. So then I did it, and I was like, oh God, why have I been doing this the other way? I didn't know.
Well, now you know. It's good that you know now. Yeah, I would see you were adding another page. I'm like, what is she doing?
It got so annoying to try and have to handle all these pages. I was like, oh. So he just pointed out, he goes, you're really just causing yourself strife for nothing. And I was like, okay. So then I just did the fan page. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
That was easy.
Makes life a whole lot easier. Cool.
Yeah, really good.
And before I let you go, I need you to please cut an ID for me. This is Bobbie Brown, author of Dirty Rocker Boys and XYs of Rock, or however you want to say it, and you're listening to Totally Driven Radio.
Okay. Tell me when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Hi, this is Bobbie Brown, author of Dirty Rocker Boys, Love and Lust on the Sunset Strip, and also star of XYs of Rock. You are listening to Totally Driven Radio.
Boom. Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Bobbie,
so
it is always a friggin' pleasure. What's that?
Thank you. Was it airing live right now?
Oh, yeah, we're live right now, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that up for future use.
Oh, cool. So were people listening to it, or are you going to air it now?
Well, it just aired right now, but when I go back,
cool.
What I do is I go back and I cut here. Here's a name for you. Let's see if you know this person. I'll play his ID for you.
This is Corey Feldman, and you are listening to Totally Driven Radio.
Yeah.
You know Corey?
Yeah, I actually met him at I think I've met him many times back in the day, but last time I saw him was at the Steel Panther show, like 2 years ago, and he came up to me and was like, you still look really great for your age. I was like, well, thanks. And then he went on stage and did a Michael Jackson kind of routine.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
We had him on the show back in August. And I literally had to throw him off the show. We almost 2 hours. I had guests waiting. I'm like, Corey, we have to go. I have to get you off the phone But he was super cool.
Oh my God.
Great guy.
Yeah,
Great guy.
He's super nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just met him last month. Actually, he was at a. That's what you guys got to start doing, like the conventions. Like he did the Chiller Theater convention here in Jersey last month. I got to meet him.
I'm supposed to do one in January, I think. The Hollywood one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, I was gonna say, I hope you didn't meet Corey at he has his Corey Angels parties now. He's trying to be Hugh Hefner.
No, no, did not. That would be scary, I think.
That's he's got a whole scene going on there. Like he's charging people to come into his house.
It's so funny. I've heard crazy stories about him and his house parties, but I don't even want to.
Yeah, I was blown
away.
I don't want to reiterate. I'm like, dude, you let strangers come into your house and party. Like, aren't you scared? Like they're gonna screw your house up?
I hear he lets strangers do more than party.
Oh yeah. He's got a whole scene going on there.
Yeah, he's got a whole scene.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's funny though. God bless him.
All right. Bobbie, thank you again so much. And we got to get Athena on here. I keep trying to get Athena, and she wants to come on, and I don't know.
Yeah.
People aren't getting back to me. Help me out here. Hook us up.
Well, I'm going to her house on Saturday. Maybe we can work it out.
Cool.
Okay.
All right, then.
Well, it was nice to meet you.
Absolutely. Thanks so much.
All
Take
right.
care. Good luck with everything, and hope to talk to you soon.
All right, baby. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, everybody, there you go. See ya. Bobbie Brown, star of the Ex-Wives of Rock, author of Dirty Rocker Boys. There she is. Get the book. There's a lot of juice in it. Juicy stories, interesting stories. It's going to be a good read. And the scary part is she has more stories to tell. Could be a second book. How about that, Frank?
Yeah, she was a trip.
She is a trip. She is an absolute trip. You got to go through and just Google the excerpts.
You know what?
I tried to keep it as clean as, which I did a good job.
The books like that, they don't keep my attention.
They don't keep your attention?
Nah, I'm just not into. I guess I'm not into people's personal lives.
See, that's like all I read is like biographies. I just love reading biographies.
Well, you don't even know who the highwaymen are, so.